Hello and welcome to this very special interview ahead of NoVacancy Hotel and Accommodation Expo London, taking place at Expo London on the 25th, 26th of February 2026. I'm Dan Assor, I'm the event director of NoVacancy Expo, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Ben Jost, CEO and co-founder of TrustYou. Thanks for joining me, Ben. How are you doing?
Great, thanks for having me, Dan.
Did I pronounce your surname correctly?
Perfect. Perfect.
It's good enough. Okay, so
It's good enough.
Yeah, Ben, we're going to talk about all things AI and hospitality. But before we get into that, I'm always interested, especially when I've got a founder sitting in front of me, to understand the journey that that individual has been on in setting up the business in the first place. And if I'm not mistaken, you founded TrustYou back in 2008. That's 17 years ago now. So I'm going to ask you what inspired you to start the business? What problem were you originally looking to solve?
Yeah, when people at TrustYou come to me and ask this question too, and then it's like, oh, how did you foresee all of that we have today back in 2008? And the answer is I didn't. So it's a typical pivot story, actually. So we started as a B2C company, and the problem we wanted to solve is we wanted not only to aggregate price information, but also quality information. So think of TripAdvisor or Kayak. I think Google Maps wasn't launched back then. But think of all of that with price information, and then we would add all the review content from across the web, so you can make an informed decision on value, which is quality divided by price, and not only by price. So what is the best romantic hotel with a perfect pool for a family in whatever, Paris? And we would bring you the best result based on the best quality, based on user ratings and reviews, plus the price information. And that was the starting point, and that was the problem we actually wanted to solve. And then fast forward a couple of years in, running out of money, didn't get traction because we didn't know how to, buy customers from $1 and then sell them for $1.05. So the arbitrage business, which is the B2C business at the end.
Sure.
So, but hoteliers came to us and said, oh, great. For the first time I see, I go to your site, TrustYou.com, and I search for my hotel, and then I see my reviews and ratings and summaries on your site, and I print it out and I pin it and I show it to all my staff, and then I search for competitors and I compare them, and I have Excel sheets where I put in the numbers to see the trends. So, and that was the birth of reputation management, and so we pivoted to a B2B business, and we actually started to earn money. So
perfect, thank you. And for those that aren't familiar with the TrustYou proposition as it stands today, give us the elevator pitch.
Oh, well, it evolved a lot from what it is today. So we started, as a reputation management, customer experience platform, feedback management, reviews, surveys, whatever name you give it. The idea is similar to revenue management that optimizes price. Reputation management is optimizing quality. So benchmark against all of your competitors and see where to improve. We do sentiment analysis, etc. So we're doing this for tens of thousands of hotels over the last 10 years plus or 15 years plus. And now we added other products and platforms to the family. So today we not only have our CXP platform, which is the customer experience platform, but we added a CDP, a customer data platform, and on top of that, an AI agent platform. And of course, we could talk about more details why we did that and what was the thought process behind it. But those are the platforms we offer today.
Thank you. And TrustYou positions itself at the forefront of hospitality AI. For those who may be less familiar, what does hospitality AI actually mean in practical terms? And as a follow-up, how do you believe it's changing the way hotels operate?
It's like, I think AI is a buzzword, right, these days.
Yep.
Everyone's talking about AI. I mean, personally think the biggest change that we see in AI is the change how we communicate with guests and how guests communicate with us. I think that is the fundamental biggest change. So you can group AI, I think, in two buckets. One is a helper AI, which we have two. Like, I'll give you an example. You get a review or a survey and you want to write a response to that guest that gave you that survey or review, and you just click on a button the AI suggests a perfect response based on the content, and then you just send it, right? It's a helper AI. And there are many of those helper AIs throughout every platform, throughout every tool. So we have a lot of them. And the fundamental change, though, I think, is how do we actually communicate and get messages back? So I'll give you one example. Today, I think 95% of all booking confirmations are sent via email and with a no reply email. So that's the first touch point of a communication. So you go on the IBE, you book your hotel perfectly on the website, and the first touch point that I receive is an email with a no reply. But what if I want to now ask, oh, I actually made a mistake. I want to extend one night, or I have a question. Can I bring my dog? Oh, what is that? So now I'm searching for a touch point with you. So I have to go somewhere, and it sends, maybe I call you in a call center, or I send another email in the inbox, and they have to search for my reservation, etc. Why can't I just reply to that email? And on the other end is an AI agent that knows everything about me, all my history, all my bookings, everything, and can do actions on my behalf. And it's just one example. And of course, if I call them, it should be an agent that knows everything about me. If I write them an SMS or a WhatsApp, everything should be handled with an AI agent. So the back and forth communication is in the future, or even today possible, is an AI agent enabled communication. I think that changes a lot. If you think about how we today, with how many platforms or tech stacks we communicate with a customer, a CRM, an IDE, a TMS, et cetera, it communicates all differently on all different channels with this customer today. And I think that is going to change dramatically in the future.
Thank you. And do you think it's still early days for the hospitality industry in terms of the take up of AI, or do you think we've now reached a tipping point?
I think it's probably we're at 0.5% of what's possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very early. I think it's not yet decided the winners and losers also of this game. I think there is a huge possibility for hoteliers, especially when you think about direct bookings and direct communication, how to make it simpler and how to be on par with all the big ones in the OTAs, because the technology now that is available out there, it allows you to do that. And in the past, it only allowed the big ones to really invest into that. So a Booking.com can take all their, 1,000 engineers plus to handle this problem, and perfect booking, perfect answers, perfect communication, even though they are not perfect, but at least they're doing a decent job. And what about the rest of the industry? What about the hoteliers? What about the hotel chains? What can they do now? And I think technology now allows them to be at least on par or even better with an AI-enabled tech that allows you to send perfect communication at the perfect time in the perfect channel. And when any guest wants to respond to you or has a question, you can have a perfect answer 24/7. So that is leveling the playing field,
Sure.
I think. And so it's good news for hospitality in the age of AI.
Thank you. And I guess sometimes, technology can be complex and often fragmented. How are you, and I say you, TrustYou, simplifying things for hoteliers? And what difference does a unified AI-powered platform make on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I could show you a graph, but I'm trying to simplify it in technology. So I always group it in three buckets to simplify technology for hospitality. The first bucket is everything around revenue and distribution. So think about internet booking engine, website, revenue manager, channel manager, distribution. So that's bucket one. And the second bucket is everything operations. In the core, it's the PMS, POS, accounting. So that's the operations bucket. And the third bucket is the least well-described bucket. It's everything else that is marketing communication. So today is CRM, CDP, chat, messaging, reputation management is in there, upselling, check-in. All of that is in the third bucket. So what I think is going to happen first is that third bucket is going to shrink to actually two main components, which is you need to have the other side of the coin of the revenue management side, which is the reputation management. So measure the entire guest feedback. So that's going to be a core bucket. The second bucket, I think, is going to be the CDP, the customer data platform bucket. Why? Because the CDP is different than a CRM, knows everything about your customer. And everything means really single everything, every single footprint. So you connect PMS data, POS data, IBE data, website data, everything into one golden profile of the customer. Now, once you have that, you know the past and you know the future of that customer. And you can segment and group them together. That allows you to do two things. One is transactional communication. So that's what I meant with what do you send out to the customer? That starts with after booking, booking confirmation, or a pre-check-in confirmation, etc. So all of the transactional communication has to be triggered by the CDP with all the knowledge you have. And then the other one is the enablement for marketing communication. So send them the right marketing communication at the right time on the right channel. Could be email, could be on Google Ads. So that's the CDP triggering that too. So basically, if you think about it, that's all outbound communication. And then the third thing that's going to change, so CXP or customer experience, as we say, CDP. And then on top of that, as a layer on top, is an AI agent layer, which is actually whenever the customer is or the guest is responding to you or triggers their communication towards you, there's this AI agent that knows everything about you. That's different, right, than just a chat engine where you can chat with what's the opening hours, but knows everything about Dan because it has connected to the CDP and can really do actions on your behalf 24/7 on every channel. So that's kind of the inbound communication from the customer. So I think the biggest shift is going to be outbound thinking, like how do I send out outbound communication with one platform triggering it all? And how do I think in the same time about inbound communication from the customer? And what is the layer who handles inbound communication? And that's the AI agent layer. So I think it will simplify this whole marketing and communication bucket to those three layers: experience, customer data for outbound communication, and then agent for inbound communication without touching the PMS layer or without touching the distribution and sales layer. In a nutshell, that's what I think is going to happen.
Thank you. And on the topic of AI agents, is it possible to share a real world example of how they've improved sort of guest experience on hotel operations? And generally, do we know how guests are responding to interacting with an AI agent? Like, do we feel they notice a difference, or is it just they feel like great service and it doesn't matter?
Yeah, you can already say so. We have three agents. So why do we have three agents? We have three agents because we think there are three jobs fundamentally. And the third one is a little bit different than the first two, but I'll walk you through it. The first one is the booking agent. The booking agent's job is to help you as a customer make a good decision on your booking. So think about it, it's like you plug it on your website. So I'm coming on the website of a hotel, and I have a question. I come back to my can I bring my dog example. Normally, I don't find that information on the website. So what do? I leave the website and find it anywhere else, and maybe I find another hotel. So if I can just answer this question, and it's just one example, can I bring my dog? It actually increases conversion if I find all of the answers, and then I can make the right booking. So we already know that if you train your agent, and training takes today 5 minutes because you just upload a couple of URLs, and there is an actual AI that goes out there, summarizes whatever you've told them to look at, and feeds that information into that agent to learn from it. So it's like a 5-minute setup job. And then you have a pretty good agent that already can answer 95% of all the questions. So that's already happening, and you can track which questions can the agent answer and which question they cannot answer. And then we for example, show in our agent, hey, these are questions we couldn't answer. So why don't you take that, write an answer to it, and upload again as training material to the agent. So it already helps. We already see conversions increase, and we see that the answers are actually valuable for the customer. The second agent is the guest agent. The guest agent now has more knowledge than the booking agent because the guest agent, as the name says, knows also everything about the guest. So the difference is booking agent knows only about public information, basically. Guest agent knows public information and private information because everything about you, all your previous history, and all your future bookings. So it can actually help. It says, like, I send a WhatsApp to the agent. The agent doesn't have to identify you on the booking ID because it knows your WhatsApp number already, as an example. So, oh, I have identified you. So now what do you need? And it's like, I want to see my booking and which room did I book again? So pulls up your entire booking history and says like, what do you want to do now? Here's how you can edit it. Here's the link, for example, to edit it. So it knows more and it knows like the entire guest history. And of course, you can think of many, many examples in this journey of after booking till checkout, what my interactions are. And if all of these interactions are going to be with an agent that is helpful and 24/7 available, that is a game changer also from the guest experience. The last agent is it's a side kind of project even because we realized staff members in a hotel also have questions. So staff also has to know what are the opening hours and what are the rules for check-in, check-out. So we said, like, why don't we give the staff also an agent? Think of it as ChatGPT in your pocket just for everything related to the hotel. So you can upload operating procedures, documents, etc. So tell the staff at any point in time what they need to do. If they have any question, they can just ask this agent. So this is the third agent, has nothing to do with the guest, but still very valuable in hotel operations. Those are just three agents that, a year ago, no one has talked about.
Right.
But it will, I think, dramatically change the landscape of how, as I said, communication happens in the future.
Thank you. And more broadly, I guess, non-tech savvy hoteliers or any sector, there's sometimes a bit of misconception about AI. It creates a bit of anxiety. People might see it as replacing humans. There's anxiety maybe about data privacy. Do you see these concerns with your clients? How do you address them? What's your advice to hoteliers who are hesitant about adopting AI more broadly?
Actually, we don't see an AI fatigue or something. We see an AI fatigue in terms of there's so many people talking about it. I don't know like who to listen to. That's the fatigue, but not a fatigue towards AI. Everyone has an AI roadmap on there's like, I want to know what to do on AI and they're interested in that. So it's more about this because everyone is talking about it and everyone says, I have something AI, that they're kind of confused a little bit what to do and where to focus on. But generally, the good thing about it is these AI tools and solutions are making actually the life so much easier, also from the hotel side. And actually, there is an effect on labor. To be honest, like I think we also go in and say, like, look, you have so and so many requests to your call center. You have so and so many requests per email, and that is all labor intensive. And 99% of all questions you receive today and tomorrow have been asked already in the past. So repetitive, even though they're private. But my question about can I edit my booking has been asked from a guest before. So those are perfect for an AI to actually solve it because it's 24/7 available, never sleeps in every language. So why wouldn't you deploy something like that in your hotel operations?
Sure.
And often it's today in many hotels, it's not about like replacing humans, but there are actually no humans that you find to do the job these days.
True.
So it's actually,
Yeah.
enhancing the service level because before you waited X days to get an answer, and today you wait X seconds to get an
Sure.
answer.
I hope you don't mind me asking this question because I guess prediction's always a bit difficult, especially when it comes to technology. But if we were having this discussion, this interview in the year 2030, in 5 years' time, where do you think we'll be, like from an AI perspective in hospitality? How do you see it evolving? Beyond the guest experience, around sustainability potentially. Where do you think it's going to make the biggest difference?
So there's one example I always give is I think today, like just take the example of the booking agent on a website today. The booking agent on a website today is a little icon that you can click on and opens a little chat window and they can start chatting with content. And the content that you can ask for and receive is so much broader than everything you find today, even on the website. So what will happen in 5 years, I think, is this window will become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's the full website. So the idea that the why is like, it's the same as replacing Google with the 10 links to an answer. It's the same with the 10 static links of your static website today, where you can take your customer through to make a booking. Is going to be replaced by this chat, where he's like, hey, show me all the pictures about your pool, and then your ambience and the room, and which room types would you recommend, and what are the reviews, and what did kids say and like, and can I bring my family, and what do you recommend for food, blah 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 blah. All of that is going to be back and forth communication instead of going through static content. And that's what I mean at the beginning. It's like, this is a form of communication too. Like, it's a static form of communication. It was like, here, I'm here. This is my website. This is my first entry point. So now interact with that, versus have a conversation with me on any channel you want. And we're going to have this continuous conversation, even if you made the booking, ongoingly, and I guide you through the entire journey. So that's the biggest thing that is just getting started. And I think this gonna be exploding in the next 5 years. And then the next big shift is going to be, instead of showing you a link where to actually edit your booking, or we actually book your restaurant, it's going to be the AI asking you, hey, should I go ahead and book for you? And it's gonna do this. Oh, should I go ahead and just book one more night for you? And hey, do you want, by the way, I see that you didn't have breakfast booked. I have a special offer. Instead of $20, it's only $10. Do you want to take it? Yes. Okay, done. So those things that we today say it's upselling or it's check-in, those are going to be integrated into a conversation with the customer at the right time. So I think that is the biggest change that we're going to see.
Sure. Ben, thank you very much for those insights into how TrustYou are working with hoteliers and the power of AI. TrustYou are exhibiting at the inaugural NoVacancy London Expo. Give us a sense of why you're excited to be participating in the event.
Sure. I mean, we love events like that, like NoVacancy event, when you meet the other side of the equation, which is the hoteliers. And we're in our bubble of tech, and we build our tech, and we think, this is the best solution on the planet. But it's worth nothing without, the feedback of our customers, and which our customers are hotels and hoteliers. So we love to exchange ideas with them, love to listen to their feedback. And I think events like that are perfect for showcasing what we have, and then just ask questions, and hey, do you like to test it out? What do you think? What is missing? So, and then we learn a lot from these events, and then we go back, and then we invest more into the products, and we're trying to make it better. And then this, hopefully, circle of trust continues. And yeah, that's why we like to participate.
Perfect. And I'm going to ask you a final question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received as a founder?
Best piece of advice as a founder is certainly not do more revenue and less cost, which you sometimes receive from board members.
Yeah.
Hey, we can solve this problem with more revenue and less cost.
Yeah,
it's a brilliant idea. No, I think, it's like, I always heard that, but it never really, I understood it intellectually, but never really felt it, which was like, pick your teammates in the original team very, very wisely. And I think I felt that pain over the last 17 years, that, sometimes you want to fill a position because you need to, and then you rush into it, and then it falls on your feet very quickly. So I think picking the right, especially the beginning of the journey, the right team members, the right co-founders is that what makes or break it. So that's kind of the biggest piece of advice that I could give. Never underestimate the building of the team. I think that's the number one thing that you need to do.
Ben, CEO of TrustYou, thank you so much for your time and insights today. It's been great to learn more about your journey, TrustYou's vision, and the future of hospitality AI. Just leaves me to say that if you're attending NoVacancy London, be sure to visit the TrustYou team and exhibition booth and to see those innovations in action. Thanks again for joining me, Ben.
Thanks for having me.